All right, I have seen Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Yeah, I didn't like it. And even a bit still upset with Zack Snyder over the whole Geeks and Gamers thing, right on the eve of the long-awaited Snyder Cut, and that happens. It's bad. But nevertheless, I know this man can make good movies. I've seen him do it several times. I've seen him do bad movies, although right now, it's like Sucker Punch was his really bad movie. I think it's a bad movie. But it's very visually rich. It's gorgeous to look at. And I don't just mean because the girls are pretty, which they are. So now I'm thinking Army of the Dead probably takes the title away from Sucker Punch. It's not, it's shot well and all that stuff, but a lot of it is kind of paint by number looking stuff and very formulaic. Which, even when you do something like that, you can still be very entertaining. This wasn't. The dialogue wasn't any good. The attempts at jokes fell flat. There was, no pun intended, no life in it. Of course, you have the obligatory several supermodels who are badass and are kicking ass everywhere. That sort of thing. Only one really survives in the end. So I'm not going to spoil everything, but I guess I just did. And some of the aspects about it that, there's two different kinds of zombies in this. And and it does give you some origin point as to why there are zombies at the opening, and some of that's like, oh well, there's something kind of interesting there, but it's just sort of the setup, and that's about it. I suppose had this been this super duper success, then there would be a demand for a sequel, and perhaps that's more avenues you could explore. But none of that really comes into, wow, this is cool. It's just there and stuff like, and it doesn't really go anywhere. But the basic premise of it is, zombie movies, a lot of them, they repeat the same formula for them, more or less. Any extra plot or concept of them is tends to be kind of at a minimum. And we're here, it's like, well, what else can you do? Okay, a heist movie with zombies, and that's not bad. That's actually kind of interesting and cool. So you had this situation where basically the outbreak happened and they managed to contain it within the city of Las Vegas. And so this guy comes in and says, I've got $200 million in a safe, and if you go get it, $50 million of it is yours. And so there you go. That's what it is. Well, it's always predictable, of course. It's not about the money at all. The money is there, but yeah. The guy who's going to be the bad guy, he is the bad guy. There's no, switch there or a twist or nothing. Nah, he's just bad. And, and so what? And some things, it's just there's a ginormous plot hole in this, and the fact that the money is not really the objective. And it becomes very obvious when you understand what the real objective is like, you didn't need these, the mercenaries and all this stuff, Bautista and his guys. You didn't need any of it. There was just this one woman who could procure this for you. It would have been very simple and easy right at the beginning. You wouldn't have to risk anything, really. And, you'll see if you watch it. If not, I'm recommending you, unless you really want to see it, then yeah, go ahead. But it's not worth the time, really, because it's just pretty bland at best. But yeah, this is a ginormous plot hole here about the ultimate. It could have been easily done. You didn't need to do the heist or any of it. So, man, is that stupid. There's just such things that fall flat. It was in the trailer, I believe, about the zombie tiger and stuff like that. But it plays on the idea that you're shocked to see it, and this guy wouldn't have been. And I mean, there's been international coverage of the events and a lot of the details about what's going on with the zombified city, you would know it, so it wouldn't really shock you to see that. And it's just done for a setup for a joke that just falls flat, and it's just no good. It's really amazing because one of the all-time best zombie movies, in my opinion, was Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. I like it way better than the original, which of course is blasphemy to Romero fans, but sorry, that's the way I call it. And I mean, James Gunn wrote that, so I guess he should have tried to connect with him on this one. I don't know. It just, yeah, the characters are just not that interesting as they were in that one and stuff like that. And no, there is no connection between the two. I think there was some thought of that when this was announced some time ago, but animals couldn't become zombies in Dawn of the Dead, so it's a different world. As far as jokes falling flat, Tig Notaro, who is just god-awful in Star Trek Discovery, does okay in this. I mean, she's still playing the same character and everything, because that's all she can do, play herself. But Zack Snyder's better at getting performances out of people than anybody on Star Trek Discovery. Now, that's not saying much at all, because really, I'm sure Tig's performance on Star Trek Discovery is not even really her fault. It's just a god-awful show, and there's really nothing you can do to improve it. But that's about it. There's really not much in the case of cool stunts and stuff, and maybe they were limited. It was lockdown and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, but it's not like it looks cheap or anything like that. It's just not. Nothing grabbed me about it. It's just like, oh, and it's too long for what it has. Yeah, that should have been cut down. It just, there's nothing there. It's sad, and it's unfortunate that it played out their way. Trying to think if there's anything that, well, there is kind of this. It's almost like an anti-lockdown type attitude in it, or quarantine or what have you. I don't know if that was intended. And it clearly thought Donald Trump would still be president because he's not in it, and it don't refer to him by name, but there is a scene where it's clearly making fun of, his attitude and whatnot. But that's about it. And then, again, formulaic stories. Oh, there's a girl and she's mad at daddy and he wants to make amends. And even though he really doesn't need to, it's much ado about nothing. And she's just a little snotty bitch. But that's par for the course. And in sort of a roundabout way, she ends up having to pay for that in the end. But that's, okay. But it's just, gee, I was hoping there would be something there. It was really quite the letdown. So they were saying, it bombed at the theaters. I guess it should have, because it's just not very good. I didn't think that was all that fair, because the theater situation is not fully restored, and this is a Netflix movie primarily. So, well, I saw it, and I don't think I'll be watching it again. It's just night and day from this to Dawn of the Dead, which was just, pun intended, so alive. And this one just isn't. And I don't know what happened. I think it was just the basic concept, and that was it, and no real ideas of how to pursue it. And it happens. That's unfortunate. But in that respect, this is worse than Sucker Punch, because Sucker Punch had all these visuals and stuff, at least on that, and the technological achievements in that one. It is of some interest to watch. This, it's just another bad zombie movies. There are good zombie movies, and in my opinion, Dawn of the Dead is the top. I keep it second only to Night of the Living Dead. It's just this great classic. But there's a lot of bad ones out there, and there's some good ones. Train to Busan's the most recent really good one. I haven't seen the sequel to that one yet, But that one was cool. And there again, well, what's the concept? How do you make it different from the others? And we'll do it on a train. And it worked. And here, it could have worked out. You just needed someone who could have these fascinating and good characters and performances out of them that you care about them and that they're funny and stuff. No, there's really nothing there. And it's sad. Hopefully he'll get his mojo back and do something better. Yeah. So, but I mean, yeah, oh God, Lord, Justice League was brilliant. It was, yeah, but it's an old film now. This one was the latest. But we'll see what Zack Snyder does next. The rumor is he really wants to do a King Arthur story. Perhaps he'll get to do that. As for the Snyderverse and all that, well, we'll see. But even if that is called back, he doesn't necessarily have to direct it all. He could be like a producer and that sort of thing. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But as for Army of the Dead, pretty much dead on arrival. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.